It's 1936. The first commercial trans-Pacific flight is about to take off. It's a 10-day event aboard the seaplane the Hawaii Clipper, taking 7 passengers from San Francisco to Manila and back. The plane has to make stops at Honolulu, Wake, Midway, and Guam before reaching its destination in Manila. To accommodate this long and arduous journey, Pan Am has to construct hotels and facilities on Midway and Wake, given that they were both uninhabited and nearly uncharted islands. 1 year into this service, Amelia Earhart vanishes on a similar route. A year after that, the Hawaii Clipper vanishes too. So today, a nonstop flight from San Francisco to Manila is 14 hours. We never really figured out how to navigate the Pacific. We just invented a way to bypass it entirely. The world gave up on figuring out actual islands. The world seems to ignore space and time at large. The world flattened and threw the Pacific out of its gravity. So in a paradoxical way, if the world disregards space and time, and the Pacific doesn't seem to be a part of the world, it might be the last respite of consequential existence. There was now an infinite archipelago out there where islands are born, die, and are resurrected, all outside of reality at large, in the same unreality of our fictions and mythology. And so the line begins to blur. In a chain of volcanoes along the Marianas Trench, an island is born. So this volcanic island has been called a few names over the years, but its first and current name is Pagan. And between the active volcano and colonialism, the island has kind of lacked a persistent population for a while. So currently the U.S. military sees this as an opportunity to test weapons. They show up to the island, totally ready to bomb some stuff, but to their disappointment, some new residents have appeared, namely mad scientists and global supervillains. They're here for a similar reason to the military. They seek a requiem for mad science. This requiem, however, is somewhat conditional, driven obviously by the gratitude of being granted an island. The mad scientist must do what the island's been doing since birth, which is creating new life. Theirs must just simply be humanity resistant. So they live godlike in towers above the earth and create these chimeras from an underground lab in the volcanic plateau. The true gods of the island, however, are the volcanic clocks. One causes a terrestrial eruption, scorching all life on the island and resetting this cycle of evolution. And the other causes a submarine eruption offshore, not killing anything and welling up a mountain of floating pumice. This serves as the proverbial arc for the chimeras. The supervillains, now gladly apply their ambitions of world domination to this diaspora event. And so the chimeras float out 2 by 2 into the world, ready for the gyre of humanity. So meanwhile, across the Pacific, an island is in its twilight. Where there was once a volcano, there is now just a sliver of land. The spectral island is discovered by a rather unbelievable bout of sleepwalking, which saves the USS Betsy from shipwreck. The island's eponymous ship lacks this somnambulic providence and becomes the first recorded castaway of the Palmyra Atoll. So today, for a generous donation to the Nature Conservancy, you too can visit this spectral island. However, away from the camps of high-end tourism, on the other side of the lagoon is a port for castaways, because long before and long after the end of wealthy tourism, those will be the inhabitants of the island. So the port primes the passengers for the deafening confrontation with an unmediated reality that is getting shipwrecked. The island's amenities are strange and familiar. A pandanus tree is a plant in a primitive hut. An old gun battery is a dwelling merged with a creation myth. These camps ease passengers into an absolute departure from the world at large. So the port terminal is a celestial dome. The constellations of the Pacific bring light to the terminal's wet and sandy floor. Atop the dome, a tower gathers a flock of birds, and from far away on the ocean, the structure can be seen over the horizon. Next to the port, boats wait in the harbor. They carry passengers to unknowable places. A return trip is neither guaranteed nor really wanted. such an unknowable place exists. It's further out into the Pacific and called the Johnston Atoll. The Johnston Atoll was originally constructed from a resurrected shoal for a variety of imaginative military functions, but most notably for atmospheric nuclear detonations. So over the last 2 decades, the atoll has been depopulated, demolished, and has slipped out of time and into ruin. This ruin has been manipulated by an unseen hand. The history and relics of the nuclear landscape have begun to appear. The curators of the island move in silence. They travel by submarine. So a monument to warheads has been built. On a pillar in the harbor, avatars of deployed and detonated warheads sit. So there's only enough room on the pillar for the total nuclear force to end all human life once. At the center are Fat Man and Little Boy. So the only remaining structure on the main island is a windowless building. Its roof is punctured by a glass pyramid, letting in light into the pitch-black space. This pyramid is a seemingly bottomless tomb holding the visceral relics of nuclear testing. Palms from Eniwetok, sands from Algeria. Next to the pyramid, there's a globe. Every detonation site is marked. Inside the markers, every nuclear isotope is listed. Outside, another pyramid sits atop a plutonium landfill. It has become a nuclear greenhouse, a cataclysmic garden of the Hesperides, where plants are routinely irradiated and poisoned. So slowly, the landscape of a future yet to occur is cultivated. The island has become a ruinous monument. From here, the ocean of islands unfurls into infinity. So allured by the hint of monsters, shipwrecks, and lost locales, a weary or adventurous few have made it this far. And having reached the unreal space of their mythology, they look back. All that lies ahead is this fresh terra incognita. And so, like Amelia Earhart and the Hawaii Clipper of yesteryear, they disappear into the infinite archipelago. The hope is to find something of consequence, and a return trip is uncertain. They have become both dead and immortal, gods from the island.